Welcome to another episode of the Not So Kind Regards podcast. We have an exclusive look into a one-on-one workshop with Maddy Birdcage and Birdcage Marketing student Kim James. We caught up with Kim on day one of her transition from a decade-long corporate career in marketing to becoming a consultant, going all out on her own. This episode isn't just for freelancers, agency owners, and marketers. Business owners will get so much out of this episode. In this workshop, they chat about everything from aligning your marketing efforts with your business goals, the power of authenticity in branding, why we all believe the best marketing comes from within your brand, yes, even as an agency, and so much more. Happy listening.
Welcome to the Not So Kind Regards podcast. I'm Maddy Birdcage.
And I'm Caroline Moss.
We are done with the digital fluff and pleasantries,
And we're here to talk straight about brand building, digital marketing, and personal growth.
Hello. Hi, Cam.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Feels crazy to speak to you, actually, IRL.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. This is the first one of these that we're doing, and I'm like, yeah, loving it. Give me the 60-second pitch for what you do.
Absolutely. So today's day, great timing, because day one today that I quit my full-time corporate job.
Congratulations. That's wonderful. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah. I've been corporate for the last 10 years. Within that, hustled my way into marketing and launched and scaled social media teams in-house, in agency, then been in tech for the last 2 years doing strategic consultancy. Throughout that, ready to build my own offering of doing that as well. So I think that's a lot of where and why I purchased into this call, was that I'd done it, but I really wanted someone else's perspective and all the tools and everything that you utilized as well. So I've gotten a lot out of that. And I think where this next part for me is that I'm kind of crafting what that offering looks like and what that service kind of looks like. But the consulting is new to me because I've been in-house or full scale or then in tech as well. But throughout that, a lot of the time frame of what I've seen is that there's a lot of friends, colleagues, rather if you're big corporate to a small business, that are doing content marketing and doing social for either the sake of it, or they have been outsourcing to an agency. They're like, I don't know if I'm getting my money's worth, because they don't really know why they're showing up, or they're fully outsourcing and now it's getting to a point where they can't actually scale because this whole section is completely there. So people are hiring in-house, but then that person that's been hired is kind of keeping the lights on because it's a bit disjointed, or having that time to try to do the strategy and do the tactical.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, so there's a big disconnect between tactics and actually like why they even need to do it, and their business goals essentially. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's exciting. So talk to me, do you know what kind of target audience you want to be pursuing?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. I wanted to know your thoughts if I'm going too broad, but I've worked big corporate and I've also worked with small business. So I've worked across with both of those as well. I think that they both have an element where the offering would align to both, but I would potentially communicating the pain points that each would have in a different way, because I understand that kind of language of it. So really going for people who might problem solve, doing without knowing where it's leading to, or not making an impact, or they're fully outsourced and they don't really have the foundations. I've worked with large clients that are fully outsourcing tactics, have $15 million marketing budgets and no strategy. And I'm sitting there going,
I know. It's wild, isn't it? I know. And it's like, yeah. So like a couple of hours of work and a couple of grand for us to do your strategy, we could change all of that. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a lot of in that, or people that have like started to hire in-house support, because I think there's always going to be, and I know that you guys have the multiple tiers, there's always going to be that do it for me kind of offering. Mm-hmm. Mine is going into that part where they have the resources in-house and really want that support of like, teach us what we need to know in-house, and we could outsource if we need. So friends of mine are in the restaurant business. They've been outsourcing people to make their video content, but they don't know what they should be making, briefing, is it bringing people in the door? And it's that part that I'm thinking and targeting into, that I think would be the same kind of offering, but how I would tailor it different if it was big corporate or small business.
Yeah. So it's like, is the content actually working?
Yes.
That's the question we're answering. Love that. Yeah, I'm actually a big advocate for small and large businesses hiring someone in-house and then getting us to manage them, essentially. content from a brand directly is so much more powerful than from an outsourced person.
Completely agree. And that's funny that you say that, because a lot of in the branding, so the agency is called Tangerine Tango, which is like the vibrance of red with the warmth of yellow. And a lot of what I've been working through with that is all about how the juices are more authentic when it's squeezed by you. Because I'm very much of that, like no one knows your brand and your product and your customer better than you do. You should have that. And content ideas don't come from sitting in a room in an agency going, what are we going to post this week? It comes from interactions all across.
Yeah.
And then formulating that.
Now, what did you want to specifically cover in this session together?
I guess I really wanted to kind of understand your thoughts in terms of this new consulting kind of world. I feel like there's the people like yourselves that know how to do it, but then there's also, it's gotten a bit of a tainted experience, because online, I still can't even work out what a mastermind is and all those kind of things. And I think there's all this kind of world of coaches talking to coaches. I'm not only selling to people that are coaches. Like I've worked every industry. I pretty much consulted, because I was the strategist for Australia at Hootsuite. So
really, wow,
yeah, I was their strategist. But the problem was they couldn't fund it, right, because it was added in. So we all got made redundant 2 years ago. So I was that, and I've worked with all industries. So now I'm kind of navigating how to launch this and how to speak about it and advertise it in something that's just not in that, and like what is genuine consulting, but then also like something that is the offer that others need. Because I understand that, and I worked in marketing, content marketing is a part of it, and originally I was like, oh my God, do I do everything? I'm like, you're not going to do everything. I have to offer a bit without offering it all.
Yeah. I mean, I think content, it can be like, you can focus on it in and of itself, because you can do an entire funnel through content, and it filters out. I mean, there's two ways that we can look at it, but I agree with you. Consulting versus coaching is definitely a big question, and it's something that we are still trying to educate people on, because people don't think they want that when yes, they do.
Yeah, and I've bought sessions with a coach, and I came out going, you told me a lot, but I haven't got anything of homework. You know what I mean? I haven't got any of the things that's going to help me scale this.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to look at that arrangement. Is there anything else? Do you want to go through any strategy or any coursework that you've had a look into?
In terms of in the Birdcage, the channels, your thoughts in terms of channels for advertising this on, because I've kind of got a bit of an idea of how I want to get this out there and to people, and which channels to kind of communicate it out on. But I mostly really just wanted to know your thoughts in terms of this consulting kind of offering.
Yep.
How best, if that sounds right, if it sounds wrong, or any advice from you guys kind of offering that as well.
For sure. Do you want to run me through your overall brand strategy that you've created, and I can give you some feedback?
It's in a Miro. So a friend of mine is actually kind of transferring into creative design. So she's actually kind of been playing around with it with me, which has been nice, because it's like it's a brand, you just can't think of it yourself. So this Miro that you've been playing around with, that we've been kind of building out. So we kind of gone into like things like setting strategic foundations, kind of like wanting to understand parasocial, reaching clients where they already are. Pains like feel like you're fumbling, lack of transparency, less authentic because it's outside, or disjointed as well. We're disjointed of that feedback cycle. Especially more like social, that's probably for bigger corporate, more the social becoming like community management and like customer care kind of ones, is like bringing that back in-house kind of thing. Cloud, viral, those kind of things that like the first things are going, this isn't a strategy, it's like not repeatable, but viral video doesn't make you a millionaire tomorrow kind of thing. A big part of it was kind of tried and tested, and we thought of like bringing that in because like I've done it, like I've been in-house, I've launched it from the ground up. So like there's that element of, when I was a strategist at Hootsuite, like people would say, oh yeah, I trust you because you've done it. Get that wording as well. And then the products, like the strategy, the foundations, like we're looking at one-to-many masterclasses as well. And then the coaching kind of thing, how set the foundation strategy, give them the tools, teach them how to use it. And then empowerment is like a key part of in the why. Like no one knows your brand, your business better than you do. Authenticity is most powerful kind of like differentiator and stuff like that. So we're really into that empowerment kind of why. And then we play around with the ad lib kind of statement. Our content marketing framework helps content-led brands and businesses have the strategic foundations and implementation to build an authentic brand presence online by providing them with the tools, guidance, and support to take control of their own content with a roadmap that gives them direction of where they're going and why and how they're going to get there, and reducing content fatigue and trying to keep up with tactics and running out of time for the strategy, unlike the do-it-for-you agencies that value instant tactics at the expense of sustainable success. Is where we got to. And then we were just playing around with that whole, like, juice is more authentic. So that's kind of where we're at the moment, because today's day one.
Yes.
From, like, a values perspective, we went strongly into, like, empowerment, passion, longevity, curiosity, warmth, imagination kind of thing. A lot more kind of on the friendly kind of creative side as well. But that's about as far as we've gotten so far. I was playing a lot more in, like, what business is as well kind of piece.
All right. Tell me again about these target audiences. So can you break down for me exactly, like, would you say there's two personas?
Yeah. One that's corporate and one that's kind of like small business.
Okay. Talk to me about the corporate person. So who are they?
You gotta laugh, but I totally made it in, like, in terms of being like, I gave them a name, and
perfect.
And I used, like, it's corporate Charlotte for efficiency. I think a key thing for them is corporate Charlotte, ideally stakeholder, late 20s to 40s, millennial. I had female because I was just making a persona kind of thing. Mid-range, comfortable. I think a key thing for them is they're wanting to kind of climb that corporate ladder, and a key thing for them is they're extremely career proud. They might have come into a role and they're like, we're going to do so much. They might be in a marketing director kind of level. We're going to do so much, but then they have this and this and this, and they're trying to get that help and bringing it all in and wanting to partner with someone externally that's done it, to kind of be that person that when they're outsourcing, it feels like they are doing ones. They're like, oh, I could have done this better if we'd done it ourselves, and having that support of someone to come in and go, here's the fundamentals of how you would set it up. Here's what you need, outsource what you need kind of thing.
Yep. Yes. Okay, great.
Yeah. So from, like, a buying habit, like, isn't afraid to change it up in how it is in the company, I think. And I've seen this a lot where a lot of people kind of come in that new marketing person in the business. I'm going to make all these changes. We're going to change the world in this business. But then they're, like, fighting with execs of how things have been, or not having, they're trying to do the doing and fix the strategy. So I think with them is that opportunity to come in, set a strategy with them, and then they might outsource the doing to another agency and stuff like that in terms of video creation or something like that. But it's that opportunity to kind of work with them.
Okay. And so who are they trying to please?
I would say, like, upwards in terms of, like, execs. Definitely kind of usually changing the status quo of how things have been, especially if it's a corporation that's on social for the sake of it. A lot of what we see, or they've just outsourced it completely and now they've started to hire a person in-house, but they don't actually know what that person's doing. So it becomes a lot of, like, keeping the lights on while we rewrite strategy, but then they don't have the time, so they never do.
So then what happens, what metric are they like, what metric is going to be like, make the CEO look at Charlotte and be like, you're a fucking genius? Like, what business metric? Sales up?
Probably. Yeah, ideally we can get it to a point where it's just like running into the initiatives that they have, having it in, like, a funnel, depending on how they're using social and, like, the business. If it's a B2C one, then definitely an opportunity for it to go into sales as well. Could be also, like, brand awareness or kind of pieces as well, like if there's certain audiences that they haven't been able to attract or get into.
Yep.
Or, like, feedback in terms of new product releases, in terms of or feedback on current product, how they can continuously improve. We didn't know there was this huge big product problem in our audience kind of thing, but people have said X, Y, and Z.
If they don't improve marketing results, is anything going to happen, or do they just stay in their job? What happens?
In terms of if she doesn't improve from what they have of there. I think there's also an element where and I know I've seen this personally, where there's one, the cost of being there and doing it for the sake of it, keeping the lights on, which I already kind of ran the numbers out. If hiring someone full-time, then posting for the sake of it, which I hear so often, it's like, when I did the numbers, it was like $800 a post that you're doing for the sake of keeping the lights on. Like, can you look at a piece of content and go, that was worth $800? There's also a second thing of not being where your audience are as well, and, like, having a strong brand presence where your audience are as channels start to change. And I think the third one as well is dependent on the business. There's also a return on investment in terms of digitizing parts of it as well. depending on how kind of optimized they are. But if they have like really high ad budget because they're doing everything in paid ads and they're not doing anything in organic and kind of like building that element, is there a cost benefit of like, we could actually decrease the need to be all paid ads because we're actually incorporating in organic as well?
Mm-hmm. But is her actual job going to ever be at risk, do you think?
I mean, in this environment, it could. Yeah, in this current environment, depending on what industry, like marketing is being quite significantly affected as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because what I'm thinking, the brand messaging that's been developed, I think that's really important for you to be clear on exactly what you're offering, right?
Yeah.
But regardless if we're speaking with like, we want to talk to Charlotte directly. Like Charlotte directly, like she does care about being empowered. She does care about all of that stuff. But what does it, like she wants, the way that I've always seen corporate people that work with us is that they want to like be the genius that figures this new way out.
Yeah.
And as you said, changes how things have always been done. And it's almost like they become like legendary because they figured this progressive new digital marketing way out.
Yeah, completely agree. And like, that's what I did like years ago, where the company I was in, it was something like $40,000 or something a month on a print newsletter. Like I'm talking like a every single month in a store. And then the reason I got into social was I was in this big corporation and I was like, how do I make a difference? And I went, well, hang on, they have no digital presence and no one wants to do it. So I just was like, well, why don't we do this? And they went, it's your job, you do it. So then it became this whole thing. And I look back now, I'm like, I don't think I did anything legendary, but it was exactly that. It was because it changed from what we did that was traditional into that new part. So that's where I did kind of think of these people that come into new roles, and especially in corporate where like when you go out selling for a job, they'll sell you the dream. You're going to do all these things, but you can get in there and you're like, oh my God, they don't see the value of social. I don't have the backing. I've got these few team members, but I don't know what's going where.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost like I've worked in internal marketing roles briefly, not really my world, but like I've been the agency to them as well. And I feel like, I don't know, marketing isn't always taken seriously.
No. Yeah, 100%.
Like it depends obviously what company you're in, but it's like let's make it as a big driver. Let's make it as important and as serious as the accounts department. Like,
oh, absolutely. I've spent like the last year and a half in marketing and social with the government. And the biggest thing with that was that through COVID, ministers understood the demand from the general public for social, but they didn't understand the value. So pretty much the last year and a half was us driving between what you're doing and what that means to bigger initiatives and stuff as well. So that's kind of what I was thinking about, of really kind of tapping into this.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got messaging that really needs to be like, I always see the value of like what we do and what you're going to be doing is about clarity and having a plan, and you having that proven framework that you've been using, you've got that backing as well. So we really need to pull all of that through.
Yeah.
What we need to do is just make sure that, let's look at the small business owner.
Yep. That was my other one. I gave it Lorelei Gilmore, obviously.
Yeah.
This was like self-employed, own their own business. And I think a key thing for her is that she's learned on the job. You know, she's gotten into business, got to where she is today by learning on the job. And this I kind of, where I got a lot of this in the values and beliefs was with friends of mine that own businesses, and people are contacting them. I could make reels for you. I could do this. I could do your Instagram. And they're going, hang on, I'm paying you $3,000. I got myself here. Like, and there's this jarring between, I'll do it all for you and this is the cost. And then going, well, I've always done it. So that's kind of like that element of, oh, I don't know if I want to give you everything kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of people in this one where I was thinking was learning a lot of the role, giving it a go, is that kind of going into getting like values, working with people that she trusts, and like authenticity and connecting with that, but understand social and what it could do for the business. They might have trialed and tested, gotten to the bit of where they are now, but they could do better. You know, they understand that they're like, okay, well, we might have gotten our Instagram, like a friend of mine, they got their Instagram for $30,000. They don't know if that's getting people in the door. They don't know if that's what got them on postcards, or when they did get on postcards, what did they use from that to, ramp it up more? It's kind of feel like they're flying blind and they're getting there, but they're like, I would love to know what I'm doing more. Or if they wanted to outsource to, have someone make 6 reels for them, they can brief it so they know what they're getting and why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like, how do I go to the next level?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is who we usually have coming through our mentoring program. They've had good success organically, but they're like, I don't really know why. Like, I just kind of have. And the why is because they understand their audience from an intuitive level, but they've never actually taken time to articulate their strategy so that they can get some outside help, partially or completely, or they don't know how exactly to be allocating their time.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we want to do, we've got 2 quite different personas here. We need to figure out what their commonalities are, because what we really want to do, we want to have one type of messaging that speaks to both of them. So what we want to then do, though, is like, we want to get them to your front door. We want them to be sold on how it is that you work. Once you have that discovery call with them, though, that's when you can recommend the different options based on investments, based on exactly what their needs are, their timeframes, all of that sort of stuff. So what would you say are the commonalities between the 2 of them with regards to maybe how they think or the challenges that they're facing?
I think a key challenge across both is like that element of feeling like you're flying blind and doing without knowing the strategic reason as to why, or how to attribute it to greater business objectives.
Mm-hmm.
So from like the corporate perspective is they're doing, but the execs don't see the value in the small business. They've gotten themselves to here, but they don't know how to scale it. What should they invest in? And there's also an element where, especially from the corporate one, but it could go into the small business of like feeling like it's exhausting trying to keep up with everything as well. Okay, I need to be on TikTok. Should I be there? What should I do? And there's that fatigue of constantly having things to know how to post. When you have a strategy, that's very easy. And it's kind of like, I think the strategy, improving the strategy, it's not going to become this daily task of thing that I have to do. It's something that I know what to do and I know what it drives for my business.
Absolutely. Yes, that is exactly what we deliver as well for our clients. So what I want to do, have you gone through much of the new content in the method yet?
I haven't yet. No, because I was just finishing up work in my job and I saw that you put that out and I was like, that's going to be me next week.
So what I'd love to do, I've seen that you've got the jobs to be done framework there, which is actually inspiration of our ladder of transformation. So what I want to do, I want to quickly go through that ladder of transformation with you. I will show you how it works because I think that that's pretty much where we are. I think you do really understand your audience as well, obviously, because you've either been them or you're close friends with them. We believe that every brand solves 3 problems for their audiences, for their customers, right? A functional one, an emotional one, and an identity-based one. So this is essentially what our ladder of transformation is here. When I figured this out, everything became really clear for me because I was always like, what am I actually doing for my customers? And it's like, the reality is you're doing all 3. You're not doing one of them. You're doing all 3. And so for you and for me, the function, what are we actually doing? We are giving people proven content marketing frameworks. Now, what is the emotional state that creates? I would say it's something like, so let me write this down for you. So functional is we're giving proven content marketing frameworks. Emotionally, they feel clear, confident, empowered, even though we hate the word. Well, clear, confident, maybe capable. Maybe it's the 3 C's. Mm-hmm. Is there any other emotional feeling that you feel like is you can deliver for your clients?
I think there's an element of like also kind of tapping in, and it's probably in the confident part, but there's an element of just the worthiness as well. Like when you can show the value of what it's driving to broader stakeholders or to your business and stuff, you feel like what you're coming to work every day is like actually attributing.
Yeah. So it's like contributing to a greater purpose. So it's like fulfillment.
Yeah.
Almost.
Absolutely. Fulfillment is, I think, a key one, especially because if you feel like you're just posting to get it out there for the sake of it, but you can't see the bigger part, it's like when you're fulfilled, you fall in love with the process.
Mm-hmm. And so what does that mean for them as a person? Who do they then become if they are using these proven frameworks and they're feeling clear, confident, capable, fulfilled? What does that then, who are they saying that they are then? What kind of person are they being? I'm just going to write down some words, but I'd say like a change maker.
Yeah.
Is in there. They're successful. They're being successful. I feel like it's got something to do with, maybe it's almost like they had this feeling that this would work, and they've trusted that gut feeling, and it's worked. So it's like they're like not an oracle, but it's almost like they're tapped in and they can I don't know what kind of word that is though.
Yeah, like it's unlocking the potential that they saw, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like they've trusted. It's like, I don't know, they're quite progressive, or it's almost like they're the early adopter, essentially, when we don't see it as early adopting, but in their organization or in their life, they are an early adopter. It's almost like they're smarter for being that. They are like...
Are they like being a change maker, kind of going to it?
Maybe change maker, like a successful change maker. Like that's what it is. So has that cleared?
Yeah, totally. Because I can see this across three, because that successful change maker can go into, if you're showing a business, and also like there's an element where you can stand out from the crowd. I'm thinking my friends that have the restaurant, if they, instead of them thinking of like, we sell French food, it's like, no, you give an experience, you know what I mean? You help people. And because it's like this beautiful, like, you know, Parisian den, it's getting, and a lot of the people that go there are very busy, like you're coming, you're focused, you're present, you're in the present state. It's an experience kind of thing. Them kind of being able to advertise it at that makes them different from others, so that there is a change maker because you're different. And I think that clear and confident, they know what to speak about, who they're speaking to, and why not to be. Because I think right now, like, and you'd say this as well, I feel like there's so many businesses that are posting on TikTok, like trends that I'm like, that's not what people want to follow you for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's not what I'm going to you for as well. So when they know that, then they feel confident, but then their customers feel confident. And the functional through something that I've also done. Like if they're like, oh my God, I feel like this, I'm like, oh, if you have a pain point, I've felt it. We've overcome it. Like, here's my clip note.
Exactly. So even with like that French restaurant, like that identity-based angle, I would feel is more like they're cultured. They're like if I'm like, I've booked myself into a French restaurant for when I'm in Melbourne, right? And it's like, I feel like I'm like this European cultured person, like South of France is one of our favorite spots. Like, and that's a persona. I'm going to wear something super fancy and European there, you know, like that's the identity I'm creating by going there.
Yeah.
Okay.
My friend of that is like, because they're actually in Balmoral, which is like that, right? And their whole thing was that getting the city dining that 10 minutes from your house, when you don't want to take the 45 minutes to get into the city, you have it down the road, and it's a Tuesday and you're like, oh, I don't want to cook tonight, but I've had a long day, come in, have the thing. So yeah.
I wish there was a French restaurant in Mackay. There is not. Okay. So based on all of this then, I would say that like your messaging, it really needs to focus around being this successful change maker. So how do you do that? You, Kim, already embody that. That is already you. You've just told me that that's who you are, right? Mm-hmm. And so the content you then create, your top of funnel content especially, will very much be, and when you work through the method, you will see exactly how this transformation messaging, it comes into top of funnel content, the identity-based one. But it's like you should be essentially just documenting your day and your life as a successful change maker. That isn't selling what you're doing, but that is showing the end state. And that is, therefore, people who strive to want to be that will engage with content that aligns with what they're trying to create for themselves. Your emotional transformation then, that can be shown through, case studies when you've got them, but even if you don't currently have them because you're kind of like it's new business, talk about case studies from your career.
Yep.
And then make sure the emotion comes through there. And then the functional stuff, that's your bottom of funnel. That's like you're selling. Like, this is what I'm selling. And even to the point of like, I'm selling consulting, that kind of thing. And so this idea of like, the question around, do I sell that I'm empowering them to take their marketing in-house? The reality is that they don't care about that, really.
No.
Like, they do, but it's a detail.
Yeah, I guess it's the difference between, and you're right, and it's empowering and bringing it in-house. It's like, that's probably more of like attributed to probably a financial piece. Like, if you're a marketing director and you outsource this and you bring that's financial, but that's not an emotional connection to them as well. Like, the emotional connection is if they're a change maker, they're known as the change maker. They're known that they go to an event and someone's like, I've seen, because social is so public, I've seen what you've done. I've seen that you've done, you were known. And I got that when I went to Hootsuite and I was actually one of their clients. I was known as that. And I came in the company, people knew me before it started. And I was like, whoa.
How cool. Well, see, this is what you need to be talking about, because this is what level of like fame almost within your network, that is what your audience is seeking.
Yeah.
And that's probably different to my audience, that I don't think my audience is seeking. Like, we work with corporates and small business and everything in between as well. But the difference is, and this is why every single brand is so different. Like, 2 candle brands are different because the people that you're attracting are based on you, but also based on what your experience is. You are that successful change maker. That's what you're going to attract. I see my persona more as like overcoming my own shit or my own bullshit authentically. And therefore that's what I'm going to attract in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously there's like commonalities, like the fact you felt aligned with me and my business and my content and my training. Like, we obviously have similarities of how we like to work. They're the tiny nuances, and that's what makes you the go-to then for that corporate person versus a different corporate person that's going to choose me for a different reason. Mm-hmm. And this is how you then become the category of one. It's how we get away from being commoditized. It's how you can raise your prices. It's how you then launch successful passive products. Mm-hmm. It's because it's all about that identity there.
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. Oh, this is so good. Thank you. Wow. On my first day. Quickly in the last 10 minutes, in terms of channels, I'm thinking, because obviously corporate-wise, LinkedIn, that's quite strong. It's just organically kind of built over the last, and I did the whole, like, I've left, there's something coming on Friday, which a lot of people like. I was thinking that to attribute it to those corporate ones, identify potentially companies I want to work with, add them on LinkedIn, post a lot, engage with theirs. And then I'm thinking just TikTok. I'm not thinking Instagram because I just don't feel like you create a community that connects to this.
Yeah. So if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I'd been like, fuck Instagram.
Yeah. Now, wild, isn't it? It's changed.
Well, I feel like Instagram has had a bit of a resurgence. The reality is you want to use it together. I would advise if you could go LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, that would be a really great combo. Now, in order to reduce the load on you, though, I really want to see more people using LinkedIn like we use TikTok.
Agree. I actually want to post more video ones because you can be in front of the camera and I can do it straight away. Like, some of my best ones, and you know this as well, like, you do it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Whereas when I make carousels for LinkedIn, they take me so long because I'm just not a written person. Yeah. Not wrong suit. So I was thinking of kind of bringing more video content, especially because there's not as much of it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I agree. We repurpose our Instagram and TikTok content onto LinkedIn. Feel free to repurpose. And there is in the school, there is a repurposing like framework, a matrix that you can use about, I don't know, I always like to post on TikTok first and then give it like a week or two before I then repurpose it across to other platforms. But some of our clients have success just cross-posting at the same time. Mm. It really comes down to like how much time and energy you have to be able to allocate to it. If you don't have a lot, just cross post, whatever. The one thing I would say is use Instagram for your bottom of funnel a lot more than you do TikTok. LinkedIn, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I feel like it's more top of funnel still.
So I had a great session with another marketing person that we met on TikTok, and then she offered me an hour of her time, and she said, like, you just never know who's going to view your content and see it. And it's not necessarily that they go to your website and buy it, but they'll message you. Let's have a chat. Oh, I'm interested. So I think it's definitely very top of funnel for you post something and you've really hit that like emotion that someone's feeling at work, and they're like, oh, that's what I feel like, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I would try and do those 3. With Instagram though, especially in your stories, go heavy on the sell. You can. That's where you really go heavy on the sell. And don't forget about your email list.
I did think of that as well with email lists of having kind of like a weekly newsletter or something to kind of have it there, or setting up a whole of that kind of email flow.
At the very, very least, just start collecting the emails.
Yep.
Have some sort of like a lead magnet download. Make it good. Make it about how to be a successful change maker. If they are the words you want to use, or if there's more aligned words, you'll have to work through that. But with the lead magnets, about solving the problem that people are experiencing right now. They don't know that what they need is a strategy in consulting. They just know that right now they don't know what's working and what's not with their marketing. So is there a freebie in terms of like, I don't know, like that framework that you're going to give people about like what does success look like? Mm-hmm. Something about like how to tell if your content's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever found like lead magnet ones work as well, like in that kind of mindset space? Like, is there anything that kind of like you would go personally into like a lead magnet on them, I don't know, in their career or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I see opportunities for you to really like even branch out into like, I don't know, I'm almost like feeling like there's this course for corporates on how to be a successful change maker.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be marketing related. So if you've got aspirations for that, then go for it.
Well, it's a funny one because I started posting on TikTok last year to learn it for work. Then I work with a really Gen Z audience, so teen last year. So I started posting career stuff and it just boomed. And now it's like almost 12,000 on TikTok. I've got it to 14,000 in 3 months on Instagram. And it's just this audience that it just came out of nowhere. And people are like, are you a career coach? I'm like, absolutely not. Because I just don't like to, I'm like, that's not my strong suit, not my background. But that's this other thing that I've kind of got that could turn into something. And I think within there's that element of like me identifying my skill sets and strengths in this to bring into in that space. Because I think the mindset, I think you can be a great marketer and you have great ideas, but to be a change maker, it's actually also an embodiment in yourself that you have to, you're fighting up against a lot of people that don't think that what you're doing attributes and there's value. So there's like a personal kind of attitude to it as well.
100 million quadrillion fucking %. Like, absolutely. And the way this is what I mean. It's like you start off as offering marketing services, but you can evolve that. And the best place for you to start evolving that is then through programs, I feel, or one-on-one mentoring. I hate how coaches have tainted what we can potentially do. I hate career coach, life coach, business coach. I don't like those names either. And like the coaches we have worked with are amazing and they deliver so many results for their clients, and we do as well. And yet, if you say you're a coach online, it's like an eye roll. Yeah.
And you're offering these like masterminds and, buckets and I'm like, I have no idea what you're selling me.
And the coach that are coaching the coach, coaching the coach, coaching the coach.
Well, they're all the ones that make the $200,000 a month kind of thing. I'm like, but where does it end?
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, like, that's why you need to find out what really aligns with you. I mean, you could look at treating that career stuff as like a separate business, or you can look at that as an extension of this business. I don't know wherever you want to take it.
I was thinking of an extension of this because I think the next part, because I kind of grew that personal brand, and through that I've been in like Business Insider and interviews, and I've became a paid creator. A lot of people around my network are like, how did you do it? And I want to do it. So I think that that's kind of like the potential third part that I would go between the two of those would be about building that personal brand online, whether or not you wanted to, but with intention. If you wanted to excel in your career, you wanted to get speaking opportunities, you had a side hustle, or you want to build a brand to then, quit your job kind of thing, that it's that piece. And that's where it could be a masterclass where it's with others and it's in a cohort. Because I was like, because then you do it with others and then you're all on the same journey, you can amp each other up. So that was kind of option 3 that I was thinking could go between the two.
Well, I wouldn't call that a mastermind. I'd just call that a live program.
Yeah.
That's how I did my first DMC. My first 2, it was done live. And I think that's a really great way of doing it because I didn't actually prep any course content until the week before I had to present it. And then I actually got feedback, and then I could really see, where did I kind of miss the mark on that? Or like, what did people really have questions with? And then I improved that and kept improving it. Actually, I think it was the first 3 rounds was live. But yeah, people really value that. You also, you just get really good at what you need to deliver. And that's what then became the school.
Yeah. To start with it small and then develop it. Yeah, because then I got to that and then I was like, people ask me resume advice. I'm like, I'm not, but I would be happy to build a masterclass or something where there is someone that is a resume expert that then they come in and we create this kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I would say watch out for is splitting your attention too much. Yeah. So I'm very good at doing that. But it really, and a done for you, even consulting agency is very different to an online program course situation. I see them as 2 separate businesses in how they operate and what you need to do. They do flow into each other, I find, but it's like, just be aware of what your capacity is.
Yeah. That's why with these other 2, I was trying to get it as packages most, because then I could really understand how many hours different things take me and like work out what that is on a monthly basis. Kind of split.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think you're really onto something, Kim. I'm really excited for where you take this. So you need to make sure you keep me updated.
Will do. I mean, I'm coming to the morning tea on Friday.
Yay. We are just determining a location right now.
Yeah, no, so fun. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it because when you split that up, I was like, well, I'm not working on someone else's corporate time frame. So
perfect timing.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Not So Kind Regards podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we would really appreciate if you left a review on whatever streaming platform you are using. It helps us to grow as a brand new podcast and to help many more business owners and content creators reach their goals, just like we hope this brought you one step closer to yours. Remember, connect with us on TikTok at Maddy Birdcage and at Birdcage Marketing, and the same handles on Instagram again. And if you really want to learn how to work with us, make sure you head to our website and book a call. We would love to speak with you.